So you've been playing a while, and now you're starting to ask yourself, am I ready to play in a band? Am I good enough? These are questions we're going to ask in this episode, coming up. Welcome to the channel. If you're new with us, glad that you're here. Please stick around and comment below. We'd love to know your opinion on what we're talking about today. On this channel, we talk about a lot of things. I talk about my journey as a musician and how I can help you to become a better musician as you participate in a live experience, whether that being in a band, a solo artist, and we try to dig into that so that you can get busy being you. That's why I'm busy being Todd. So let's get into it today. So the question is, am I ready to be in a band? Well, I think you have to ask a bunch of questions to see if you're actually ready to be in a band. What are those questions? Well, the first and most obvious is, am I good enough? Do I have the skills? Can I play with other people adequately? Do I have the knowledge I need? Do I have the equipment that's necessary? So what is necessary to play in a band? Let's get into it. Number one, you don't start to be in a band unless you're passionate. You have to want to do it. You have to want to be part of the whole thing. So what is a band? Band is a collection of somewhat like-minded individuals who want to play music, to make a mark, to rock out. Do you want to do that? Have you ever played with a group of people and sort of felt that rush of bringing a song to life? If you have and wanted more of that, then you likely have a passion for playing in a band. Let's talk about skills. Well, to start with, you don't have to be a virtuoso. Most young players start out playing with some people with similar skill level. If you're lucky, you will find people who are better than you, and that will give you a shot at playing with them. You'll get better by playing around people who are better than you. Now, depending on the band, you'll need a different set of skills to play in that band. So rock bands tend to be a bit different than jazz-oriented bands. And so we'll talk about that. As I grew up and played in garage bands, we just played the songs off the radio. We would pick songs and we would just start to play. We didn't even really think about the audience or anything, just playing. Well, things are a bit different if you want to play in a band that plays gigs for money or for free, but you're just playing gigs and you're playing for people on a regular basis. You're going to need to know songs and the style of the band you want to join. So you got to keep in mind, if you're going to join a rock band, you got to know those kinds of songs. And even if you haven't learned all the songs the band knows, you need to be familiar and into those kinds of songs and need to be a quick study at learning those songs. You have to be able to learn your part quickly and be able to execute it, not just sort of faking your way through the song. You need to be able to carry your part so that it comes off. You're going to play that part as written by the original player, and then, depending on the band, they might be cool with you improvising your part, but for the most part, you need to be able to play your part in a way that makes the song sound complete and close to the original. So can you do that? Ask yourself that question. How can you tell if you're ready for that? Well, how do you do that? Well, you learn the part. You learn to play along the recording to the point you can do it without any mistakes. Then you need to go a step further. Now, most players I know who think they know how to play in a band, they don't take this step seriously. If you're learning a song, I mean really learning a song, you need to be able to play through the song without the original recording. Yeah, that's what I said, without the original recording. So that's going to require that you know the form of the song. Do you know it right now? Can you ask yourself, do I know the form of the song, how it goes from beginning to end, verse, chorus, everything? So you're going to need to know every section, the transitions, the breaks between, how long each part is. And that's pretty tough, but it creates a different mentality as a player. You will elevate yourself to another level if you can do that. You will be ahead of most musicians who ever play in a group if you can learn your song to the point that you can play it by yourself. And one more thing, you want to know everybody else's parts. Not how to play them, but you want to know what their part is, when it comes in, and so you know where it is in the part of the song and how it fits together for the whole song. You're going to be superior in your ability to play in a group if you know what the parts are on the song. Additionally, if you want to be ready to play in a band, you need to know the standard techniques and patterns for your instrument. So what do I mean by that? If you're a guitar player and you're playing in a rock band, you're going to need to know the techniques that are demonstrated predominantly in that style, how they're executed. So that might include like two-handed technique with pull-offs. You might need to do harmonics and chicken picking, 100 other techniques plus your amp. As a bass player, it might mean that I need to know slap technique, and I might need to know how to play swing lines, be able to use a pick and my fingers. As a keyboard player, I need to know a bunch of different styles. I also need to know the keyboard and all of the sounds on it and how to use them properly. More importantly, you need to know how to play those sounds and create those sounds on your keyboard that you hear on the recordings. The point is, you need to study your instrument and the players who've contributed to the body of work that you may be playing in, and be familiar with those techniques and styles so that you can emulate them moderately well to start. Finally, you're going to need some adequate gear to play music in a band. So if you're a guitar player or a bass player, you're going to need to have an effective sound processing unit, probably pedals. You're going to need to have great amplification, a really good amp that projects, that has good sound. Now this is most important as a guitar player, and keyboard players, they need to have a professional keyboard or workstation capable of reproducing the most widely used sounds. Now I know I've dumped a bunch of information on you, but this is the life of a musician. You have to be obsessed about playing well. And the last thing that I'd really tell you is that on top of it, you have to ask yourself the question, I want to play in a band. Can I get in front of a group of people and perform? Now, you might say to yourself, well, I know some people who perform and they just stand there, or they're angry and they've got some sort of crazy face on. That's still performing. Standing on stage and doing this is not performing. You need to be able to show that you're into what you're doing in front of a group of people. And that's probably one of the most important questions that you're going to need to ask yourself before you go to start and play in the band. Can I perform in front of a group of people in a way that people know that I'm enjoying myself and it makes the group better? You have to be able to be a performer to be in a band. You don't have to go out there and be Lady Gaga or any of those big groups. But you've got to show that you're entertaining when you're on stage too. So you may have to get in front of a mirror. That may be uncomfortable. And once again, I talk all the time about recording yourself. So get out that camera. There's some links in the description below. You can go out there and look at cameras. And those things are important to look at. You can just use your phone. But do something in such a way that you can see, am I actually entertaining? So you've got to ask yourself that question before you become part of a band, and you'll be better for it. You're going to enjoy yourself a whole lot more. It's about being an entertainer in a rock band, for crying out loud. All right, well, that's all I got to say about this today. If you can answer these questions honestly, I think you're ready to go. And if you have questions or you want to know more about this, please comment below. I'll get back to you, and we'll talk about this whole thing about being in a band, whether you're a young person or maybe you started later in life and you just said, maybe I want to finally do this. Well, anybody can do it. It just takes some work to get up there and get going. Well, if you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you want to subscribe, you can do that, and hit the little bell so that you get notifications. We do lots of video like this all the time here on the channel. I try to release a video every week. So please join me as we get deeper into it and learning how to become a better musician in making the better band. We'll see you next time.